So this next one might get me into a little bit of trouble because I've realized that, especially with some posts on Twitter today, that you can't say anything good about Trump at all, or people will freak out. And I'll be honest, I think Trump doesn't get enough credit for the good things he's done. There. I've said it. And for anyone that goes crazy, I'm sorry. And, for real, the bad, it just outweighs the good with Trump. It's not that Trump is just, he is probably the most horrible president ever. And it's hard to say he's done good things like, when there's 400,000 Americans dying from a virus that he did not, do a very good job of containing or doing much on. But hey, with Trump, the bad outweighs the good, but there is still some good there. He's done good things for medical billing. Like, he's basically made it impossible for medical companies to keep their records sealed so people can kind of compare and contrast costs at different hospitals in an effort to try to find fraud. That's a good thing. He also signed a bill to help stop sex trafficking by shutting down websites like Backpage where, victims were sold online. That's a good thing. But then he dumb shit like pardon war criminals or let the pandemic, again, run out of control. So, again, Trump has done a lot more bad than good, but there is still, some good there. But, it seems that Trump, maybe, has come through on one of his biggest campaign promises.
And some of the biggest American companies also taking action. JP Morgan, Citigroup are suspending all political donations after the Capitol riots. Meanwhile, Marriott and Blue Cross Blue Shield are halting donations to Republicans who voted against certifying Joe Biden's election victory.
Yes, if you were horrified by the storming of the U.S. Capitol last week, you're apparently not alone, as some of the largest companies in America are pulling back on their political contributions following the Capitol violence. AT&T, Marriott, J.P. Morgan Chase, Coca-Cola, didn't know they were so big into political advertising, but apparently they are, and Charles Schwab. So if you're banking with Charles Schwab, they're ending all political donations and shutting down their political action committee. So, hey, the question is, as more and more are pulling their political contributions to politicians who supported Trump's baseless election fraud claims and helped fuel the fire of the insurrection attempt, did that in a way actually help to drain the swamp and political advertising? Especially folks where I'm looking at guys like you, Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley, and 140 other congressional representatives, and they have basically been cut off from funding from major companies. So in a weird, twisted way, did Trump actually drain the swamp? Again, a lot of how these folks, if you're not familiar with how some politics works, a lot of these folks, they basically maintain their political power because they'll basically say, okay, you do what I want you to do in Congress, or I'll make sure that you won't get funds for your next election. If you, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Tulsi Gabbard, but she went on Joe Rogan's podcast a few years ago. And she talked about, when she first got to Congress, she was told, one of the first things she was told was, whatever you do, don't work with the other side. That'll be a problem. And unfortunately, she had to listen to that because Nancy Pelosi controls the purse there as a major member of the Democratic Party. They'll cut off campaign funds to you if you don't do what they want you to do. And so maybe, for at least a week, because this isn't gonna last long, Trump may have actually done something to drain the swamp. At least on the Republican side. I mean, let's be honest. The Trump is not dead. The swamp is there, and they will be back as soon as some of this, some of the stuff with the Capitol riots have blown over. But hey, I'll give Trump just a little bit of credit. Just a little bit of credit. What can I say? I'm an optimist. I'm a silver linings type of guy. It is what it is. But at least for a tiny little bit, maybe Trump actually did help drain the swamp. Just for a little bit. Again, it's not going to last. And again, I think Trump is the worst president of all time. But hey, you know, even a clock, even a broken clock is right, you know, twice a day.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Thank you so much for watching Citizen Pete. I really appreciate it. If you haven't already, click that little subscribe button, maybe the like button, and hey, maybe just leave a comment. You know, I want to know what you're thinking. What do you think about all the politics, the news, and all the stuff that's going on in our country?